Hey coders, we're going to go ahead and start this next chapter. We're going to be focusing on input functions and while loops. So the first thing we're going to need to do is you're going to need to go to my GitHub and download the code. So let me go ahead and pull up my GitHub right now so you can see where you're going to get the code from and how you're going to do it. All right, so once you follow the link, which I'll post in the description of this video, let me go and pull up an example so you can see what I'm talking about. So here's my last video. And if you go to the description here, you'll see a GitHub link. And you can just go ahead and copy that and paste it into your browser. That'll take you to the Python Crash Course Section 7, User Input and While Loops. And you'll see here, it gives you an option to copy raw content. So if you click that, you'll copy it to your clipboard. And then what you can do is just paste it into your Sublime text editor. If you don't have a Sublime text editor, you can go ahead and go to the first video, watch that one where I'll show you how to install it, and then come back to this one. So now that you have in your Sublime text editor, the thing is, Sublime text editor has its limitations, meaning it will not prompt us with anything, right? So here I'm using the input function. And what you should get when you run this is it should give you an area to input something, and then it should be dynamic. You should take that input and it should then do something with it. But Sublime Text Editor doesn't allow you to do that, right? It doesn't allow you to process data like that. So what are we gonna do? We're going to download PyCharm, okay? It's completely free, and put the link in the description of the video. Okay, so just put it in your browser and it'll take you to the site here. What I don't want you to do is download and click this button right here, because as you see, it's gonna try to get you to download the professional version, but we're trying to download the community version. Try to download the free version. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna scroll down here and give you the pros and cons of the professional versus the community. But I'll go with the communities. The communities on the right, you see PyCharm Community Edition. And you can go ahead and download that for your operating system. Okay, once you have it downloaded, you'll go ahead and open it up. And so we'll be using Sublime Text Editor just to hold our code. We'll paste it in here and then we'll run it. So let me go ahead and bring this over here so you can get used to it. So you can see on the right, we have our code, and on the left, you can see this main, and I named it .py. So if it's main.py, it knows it's a Python file. And because it's the main file, whenever I click this run button up here, you see how it gives you the option run main? If you click that, it will run this main py file, this Python file. And if we have any input here, any data that needs to be processed and it needs to return a value of some sort, PyCharm will allow us to do that. Okay, so what we're gonna do next, we're gonna go ahead and take section 1 here, and we're just gonna copy that over to my PyCharm, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and try closing this out. What is this? Don't show me this again, okay. Move this over to the left, put this here. All right. So here, let's go ahead and go over this within Sublime Text Editor first. We're taking an input, right? And we're using the input function, which allows us to process data and then return a value. So we have an input function here saying input your age. When you input your age, it will then be stored in this variable message. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna print that message out, right? So this is print, and then we're saying format it. That's what the F stands for, right? The double quotes, meaning we have a string, And then within that string, we have the curly bracket, right? And that variable, we stored the age in. So then once you input your age, 18, 19, 30, 100, whatever age you input, it's going to say you're 100 or whatever your age is. For 100, that's quite impressive. All right, so let me go ahead and run this. So you're going to click run main. Okay, and then see down here, just like Sublime Text Editor, it will process it down here. So then I'm going to input 100, and it says you're 100, and then it finishes the process. So great. Now we're able to work with this. We're not using a terminal and having to, constantly open the terminal, run the program. I can show you how to do that, but that isn't the way we should go. Okay, we should do what makes sense, and this makes sense. So let's go ahead and move this over here. All right, so number 2, you're just gonna go ahead and grab number 2 here. We're gonna copy this. I'm gonna run through this code and teach you what we're doing as we do it. Okay. Now you'll notice some of these samples I'm using, some of these examples, they're not exactly from the book. And that's because I've taken what I've learned from the book, I spun it up, I made it my own, and I'm trying to teach it to you in a more digestible format. Okay, so here, number 2, we're gonna place the input that we get, and then we're gonna print it with the string hello, your name, right? So we're asking for the person's name using the input function. We're storing that in the name variable, and then we're printing that input out. So let's go ahead and run this and see what we get. All right, so I'm gonna enter my name. Let's put Luke. All right, so, hi Luke. It's that easy. And the input function is like one of my most favorite functions, because when you're building a program and you're trying to make something that's dynamic, something that someone can easily understand, and they're not having to go and alter your script in any way, but they're able to just run it and do something with it. Like, let's say, for example, I want you to input a computer name, right? Input the computer name. And then I have the rest of the script will say, okay, with that computer name, enumerate the user folders on it, or shut the computer off, or, do this or that, whatever you want to do, you're basically taking that input and then you're processing and you're able to do something with it, right? And throughout the whole process, somebody didn't have to go through your script and try to mess with any variables, right? They just input something and you run it and it does what it's supposed to do. It's easy enough that your grandma can use it. Okay, so let's go ahead and run 3. Okay, so multi-line string. So here you'll see we have an operator plus equals. Okay, it takes a string that was assigned to the first line and then just adds the new string to the end of that. So here we have, if you can tell us who you are, we can personalize a message you see. And then here we've plus equals. So now we're adding this to our string. What is your first name? Okay, so when I prompt this out, it's going to show us both of these prompts. Okay, and then you take that input and then process it and just, show us our name again. So let's go ahead and run this. And here you can see it's giving us the option. If we click run main, okay, there we go. What's your first name? Luke. Okay, hi Luke. So it's doing the same thing, except we're able to use the plus equals operator to add a line to the back of the string. All right, so let's go ahead and use int. So now we're starting to take input and, you know, by default, Python sees it as a string. But what if we want to do some mathematical operation with it? Well, we're going to have to specify that whatever the person inputs is a number. Okay, and the way of doing that is using the int function to specify the input is a number. Okay, so it's an int data type. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and copy line 4. I'm trying to see where this thing ends. Okay, so it looks like it ends right here. Let me go ahead, put 4, and we'll make this one 4.1 because I already numbered it. So this is 4.1 down here. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna put it in here. Okay, so we have the input, how old you are, okay. Then we're gonna send that variable which stores the age, and we're saying this data type is an int for like integer, so it's a numeric value, and then we're going to then store that in the age variable. Then we're saying if age, which is now recognized as a numeric value, is greater than or equal to 18, then it's going to print format string you could drink. Okay. Else it's going to print you are too young to drink. Okay. And actually that should be 21, right? Let me correct this. It's underage drinking, right? Do you have to be 18? 21 to drink? No, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm sure you have to be 21 to drink. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's input that. Hold on, I'm gonna type something. Oh, it's 18. Never mind, it's 18. There we go. All right, no, never mind. Well, we'll put 18. All right, so let's go ahead and run this, run main. And we got an error. Oh, there we go. All right, let's run it now. Else. Okay, let me take a look at this code real quick. I'm probably missing something. I think it's this, maybe. All right, let's run it. Okay, so I see what's going on here. This is one of the issues I've experienced with PyCharm. The spaces, it does something funky where it just doesn't recognize them as normal spaces, and it'll give you an error. So I guess what you can do is you just click this little light bulb, and then it'll say convert indent to spaces, convert indent to tabs. And you can just click that first option. And then now if you try running it and we just convert it to spaces, it should run. If it doesn't, then I don't know. Okay, else. Okay, yeah, so I don't think, yeah, you didn't need that. Okay, so let's try running this now. All right, give me 1 second. I'll pause the video and we'll get back to this in a sec. All right, so our spacing was off. Once I corrected it, then it ran. So let's go ahead and run this again. Run main. So it's saying, how old are you? And I'm going to put fictitious age. I'm not going to give you my true age. All right, let's go ahead and put that. You can drink, right? So 21, great. Actually 100, so, you know, non-spline. All right, so yeah, that ran just the way we thought it would. I'm going to correct this on the go. So let's see. This is 4.1, 4.4. Okay, so I'm just gonna replace that code. That way, when you run it, you won't run into the same errors I did. All right. So now let's do 4.1. All right, take this. Let me take the words too. There we go. All right. Put it in here. I'm probably gonna run into the same issue. Let me delete this. All right. Determining if a number is even or odd. We must specify the data type as an int, and if we plan to do any math. So just going over that first. So enter a number to see if it is even or odd. So we put the input there, turns it into an int value. We put in the number variable. If number is divisible by 2, then it's going to print that it's and if it's divisible by 2, then it's going to equal 0. Right? Then the number is even. Else the number is odd. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this out. Let's run it. And let's input 1, knowing that it's not divisible by 2. Now let's see what happens. The number is odd because 1 divided by 2 doesn't equal 0. And it's not divisible by 2, right? So, and I guess you would say that's, yeah. So let's go ahead and try an even number. Let's see. Let's put 4. Snaps. All right, 4, enter. The number is even. So yeah, it's divisible by 2. And also when you divide it, 2 divided by 4, you don't get any remainders. So that's another indication that it is an even number, not an odd number, because odd numbers you would get remainders, right? So what we're going to do next is we're just going to move on. All right, so let me bring up this editor. All right, let's do 5 here. Let's see how many we have. We're going all the way up to 7-12. Okay, so we don't have that many. And I noticed this section isn't very long, but it's pretty important. And I'm pretty sure some people got stuck along the way, being that the book doesn't tell you which software to install. You know, I just kind of figured this out on my own and found PyCharm. You know, so let's go ahead and do this. Let me scroll back up to the top. This looks like what we just did. 4.1. Yeah, we did. Okay. Sorry, something's going on with my clipboard. Let me go ahead and grab this. 5. All right. So here we're going to enter the name of a starship you want to fly. Okay, when you input that, it's going to store it in the starship rental, and then it's going to print, we are preparing the starship. So, you know, just pretend you're going to the enterprise version of a car rental place on Tatooine or something. You just want to rent, you know, a starfighter. So, you know, it's like, hey, we're preparing it, right? That's the scenario we're in, and we're just playing around with this, playing around with the input. So let's go ahead and try running this. And we're going to say we want to fly. Let's look up star. Let's go with Jedi Starfighter. I don't even know the name of the ship. Okay, so it's just saying preparing your Jedi Starfighter. Okay, so let's move on to number 6. Reservations. So how many people do we have coming to the party, right? That's what we want to know. And we're storing that in the reservations variable. then we're taking that value and we want it to be a numeric value. So we're using the int function, right? And then we have number of people. So we're storing that in the number of people variable. And then if the number of people is greater than 10, then it's saying we will need to reserve more tables, right? So we're at like max capacity at that point. We need to get more tables. Else, we will have the tables ready, right? So let's try running this. How many people do you have coming to the party? I got 11, got a big family. All right, we need to reserve more tables. All right. So that's just playing around with the numeric values again. Let's go ahead and move on to 7-3. I don't know how that goes from 7 to 7-3. Okay. I'll fix that for you guys. So now I'm going to input 7-3. Multiples of 10. So we input a number, then it's going to turn into int value. Number converted to int. If number converted to int is multiple of 10, right? Then equals 0 as a like remainder. So the number is a multiple of 10. So if we enter 100, then that's multiple of 10. So we'll be printed this number is multiple of 10. You know, hey, whenever you divide that, it's always going to have a remainder of 0, right? Now, if it has anything else than that, if it's not a multiple of 10, you know, you're going to get printed your number is not a multiple of 10. So let's go ahead and try this. Main. Put number, let's put 100. Number is multiple of 10. Okay, so that's that. Let me change this to 7. There we go. All right, so now we're looking at 8. So here we have a while loop. The for loop takes a collection of items and let me verify this is a while loop real quick. Pretty sure this is a while loop. Chapter. Yeah, this is a while loop. Okay. While loop takes a collection of items and executes a block of code once for each item in the collection. In contrast, the while loop, or actually, oh, that is for, okay. Okay. In contrast, the while loop runs as long or while a certain condition is true. Okay, gotcha. So for a loop, it runs and executes a block of code once that statement is true, where the while loop will keep running as long as the condition is true. So meaning for loop just, it runs, condition is true, it executes, it stops. While loop, it runs, condition is true, it executes, it continues to execute as long as the condition is true until the condition is false. Okay, so here what we have is we have the number, we start off with 1, while number is less than or equal to 5. Okay, so if we start off at 1, right, then what it's going to do is it's going to determine is that number more or less than 5. If it is, you know, it's going to print the number. Okay, and then it's going to take that number and then add a 1 to it, right? So if we start off with 1, it'll show 1, but then it'll add a 1 to it. So then as it does this loop, it'll and it comes back around, that number will turn into 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and then it'll stop, because at that point, it's no longer true, right? So let's go ahead and try running this. Yep, so we get 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, and then it stops there. Because if it wouldn't do anything after that, right? So it determined the number is equal to 5, and then it stops, and then it doesn't do this, right? So, I mean, yeah, it doesn't do that. So that's that. Let's go ahead and move on. All right. Actually, if the number was 5, yeah, it'd be equal to. So it'd show the number, but it wouldn't add it anything else, because what happens was it would take that 5, it print it out like we see here. But then when it gets to 6, guess what? At that point, it adds a 1 and it's 6, and then it no longer does anything. So that's why you don't see a 6 after that. So you'll see a 5, but you won't see a 6, right? 6 is greater than 5. So that's where it just stops. It doesn't print anything. It doesn't add anything, because it stops there. It stops at 5. Okay, so let's go ahead and input this. This program will work well, except that it prints the word quit, stopping a program. So here we have the same process, except we actually have a quit value, right? Kind of like you want to exit a program, click escape, and it'll close a program out. Well, in our code, we're using quit as that value, saying, hey, close it out, right? So I'll echo what you say, enter quit to end the process. And then here we have the while loop. And remember, as long as it's true, it'll continue running. But if it's false, and here saying if message is equal to quit, then it's not going to run anymore, right? So if it's not quit is what it's saying here. So while message is not quit, run this, because we know that exclamation equals is the equivalent of not, right? And so it has message, input prompt, print message. So it's just going to echo it, right? It's just going to print it. So let's try this out. Echo what you say, test. And then it prints test to the screen, just continues. It's in this loop. As long as it's true, it's going to continue. Well, let's do quit, right? See what happens. Put quit, and then it finishes running the process. So at this point, it's done. That was its cue, at that point it's quit, and it just exits the loop, the while loop. All right, so let's move on to 10. We're almost done. So a flag allows you to set a value that will end the whole game. So you can think of this as like a game, right? You'd create a variable and set the Boolean value of true. And if that Boolean value is set to false while it's running the loop, then it will stop. So that flag is just a Boolean value. And if it's set to true, it'll continue. And if it's set to false, it will stop, right? So here we have active is equal to true. So while active, right, is true, it's going to take your input and it's going to echo it. However, if message equals quit game, similar to what we just did, you input quit game, it'll stop. Then active will then be equal to false, right? And then that will stop the loop, right? Because it's only while the active is true, run the loop, I'll stop the loop. And so let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. Put a message. So let's input testing 1, 2, 3. If you want to keep playing the game, if so, put a message. All right. Let's type quit. And we have to type quit game. All right, there we go. So when I type quit game, it actually stopped, as you see there. All right, so let's go and move on to number 11. While loop immediately break. So just like we're able to stop the program with a Boolean value, we can also stop it with the break. So here we have, please enter the name of Star Wars character. And then if you enter quit, then it'll finish the game. So while true, character input, prompt for user, right? So if character equals quit, so if we enter quit, it's going to break, which is just the equivalent of stopping the program. Else, it's going to say you liked this character, right? So it's just going to print that out. So let's go ahead and run this, see what happens. Run. So we'll input a character we like. Input Darth Vader. All right, so it says you like Darth Vader. So let's input quit. All right, so then it's gonna finish the process and it's gonna quit. All right, so that was easy. Let's do number 12. Using a continuous loops. So you can use the continue statement to return to the beginning of the loop based on the results of the conditional test. So here we have the current number, set it to 0, while current number is less than 10. Then you're going to add a 1 to that number if current number is go ahead and expand this. It's a multiple of 2, it's going to continue. And it's going to go back to the top and it's going to continue running this, right? If the number is odd, it will go down and print that odd number. So print the number here. Right? So let's go ahead and run this, see what happens. So it printed 1 because 1 isn't a multiple of 2. All right, then went to the top and it added a 2, but it wasn't printed because 2 is an even number. So as you see, you can only see odd numbers here, right? Because it's only printing the values that are multiples, actually. Let's see if the current number is at 1 plus it. Right, so it only continues. Oh, if it's not a multiple. Okay, gotcha. All right, I had to pause there for a second because this is code I wrote yesterday, so I just had to, this is why you put comments in your code. So you have current number starts at 0. Okay, so while current number is less than 10, which in this case, if we start at 0, that's less than 10, then you're going to add a 1 to it. So if we add a 1 to 0, that's 1, right? If the current number is divisible by 2, then it's going to continue. Now, what we just remembered is that continue means go back to the top. So basically saying go back, right? Now 1 isn't divisible by 2. So then it'll just print that number. And so that's why you see a 1, right? But 2, so let's see this. It prints the 1, then it goes back up to the top. So now we have a 1 up here, right? And then that 1 is less than 10. It adds a 1 to that 1, so now you have 2. That 2 is divisible by 2, right? So in that case, it will continue, right? It'll continue, so then it would not print that out. Then it goes up to the top. Now we have 2 up here, right? So 2 is less than 10. Add a 1 to it, not divisible by 2, will not continue. It will print that out, and then you have a 3. So that's what that's doing. Sorry for the confusion. All right, let's move on to number 13. Avoiding infinite loops. So here we have x equals 3, while x is less than or equal to 5, print out x. And then once you print out x, you're going to take x and then you're going to add a 1 to it, right? So this will stop once x is at 5, because it's only less than or equal to, right? But let's look at this one up here. All right, so we have 1. So while 1 is less than or equal to 5, print that number. Well, if we start off at 1, it's less than or equal to 5. So then we're not incrementing that number. That number is just 1. So it just continues to print run, and it just runs forever. And that can be a big issue because it uses up resources. It could DOS your system. So it's something you have to watch out for. And this is why you're gonna have to test your code and ensure that you don't have any infinite loops that you've put in there by accident because you forgot to increment it, like this one. So let's go ahead and move on to number 14. All right, so for number 14, we're simulating a McDonald's order. So you're gonna have them order something. We're gonna start off with an empty, looks like an empty list here. And we're gonna set active to true. So while active, it's going to ask them to input an item from the menu. And then it says if message is equal to quit, then it's going to set active to false, which will then end the loop. Otherwise, else it's going to print adding the item to your order. Would you like more items? If so, input an item, else enter quit. And then at the end, well, actually right here, it's taking what they've inputted, and then it's appending it to the full orders list here. So then at the end, it's going to print that list, and we're going to be able to see all the items that they've inputted in their order. So let's go ahead and try running this. We're going to enter something from the menu. So we'll put in fries. All right, so it's added fries to that list. We're going to input Coke. Now it's input Coke into that list. We're going to then input quit. I'm just going to move my screen up so you can see it a little bit. There we go. Input quit. And then it's going to exit. So here we can see we input fries and Coke, and then it quit. All right, so next we're going to be inputting are being paying for a ticket. So we're gonna pay for a ticket, and so we're gonna have to input a value, and dependent on our age, the ticket will cost so much, right? So here we're just playing around with input value. And so let's go ahead and go on to the next challenge. So it's challenge 15. Go ahead and grab that from your code. All right. And here we're going to input a number. It's going to convert to an int if the number is equal to 18. See, number equals 18, actually. Yeah, so convert number int. If converted number is less than 12, then it's going to print you pay 0. So let's say you're a little kid, you get to go for free. Else if number is greater than 12, you pay 90 bucks. And then it's going to print input a valid age else. So if we input some alphabetic characters, it's going to say, hey, input a number. So let's go ahead and run this. So we're going to put age, we'll put 15. You must pay 90 bucks, right? Because you've surpassed the threshold of 12, so now you're paying 90 bucks there. Right, and then it quits the program at the end of it. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to infinite loop. And we're gonna actually run this. I'm just gonna eat up all my RAM. Let's see here. So here we have a loop that actually works, right? Actually, looking at this, both of these loops are infinite loops. So I guess we could run both of them. All right, let's run that first one, because this one doesn't increment it. So if it doesn't increment it, it's going to be infinite loop. So let's try running this. And as you can see, it's just printing out a bunch of ones, eating up all my RAM. So how can we stop this from happening? Well, we could increment it, that's for sure. That should stop it. So let me try incrementing it here. Steps. There we go. All right, then we'll run this. Oh, hey, that did it too. We input some type of error and now it doesn't want to run. All right. There we go. Had to convert my spaces. All right, let's run it. And yep, just runs to 5. All right, great. I don't want to run that second infinite loop. It's just another example, but I'll just take that off. You don't need to see it twice. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to, and that was 13. So I know it says 7-7, but that's actually 13. I fixed it here. So when you pull that, it should look like this, right? All right, so let's look at 14. This is going to be an other challenge. Right. Oh man, I just realized I must have went up a little bit. Okay, so anyways, we've done the infinite loop. I was kind of like confused there for a second. Why I was running that twice. So I have infinite loop in here twice. Let me go ahead and correct this real quick. All right, so let's see. Next, we're going to be getting the input, seeing what someone's favorite foods are. So this is another challenge. So active is set to true, while active message, what is your favorite food? Enter none to quit. All right. So if none, then we're set false. It's gonna print, oh, you robot. Else, it's gonna say that food tastes good, right? Do you want to keep playing? Enter something else. So let's enter something. Let's enter grapes. Who doesn't like grapes? Okay, it tastes good. Let's enter quit. Actually, we have to enter none to quit. All right, there we go. Now it's quit. Okay, so let's move on. Using a while loop with the list and dictionaries. Check list of users to ensure they are not Twitter bots, right? So we've heard all over the news issues with Twitter bots, right? We just want to make sure these users are verified. So when you sign up for your account, you go in the users bucket, basically. So we go in the users list here, and then we're going to verify each user, and we're just going to print that we've confirmed them and then that they've been verified. So while users, and we're going to put them in the process users. So we're going to take users here, and we're going to pop them into this process users variable. So we're just taking these users and putting them in that variable, all right? Then we're going to print out that we're verifying that user, right? And then we're going to take that user that we've now verified, quote unquote, and then we're going to append them into this new list. Okay. So we're just adding them from this list to this list, all right? And then we're going to display saying the following users have been confirmed for checked users. You could put for checked users, you can put for verified users, whatever you like to input here, you can input, right? I probably wouldn't use verified users because you use it up here. So something other than that for users that we've checked. You can input whatever you want here, right? You can put a letter K, but we're just saying for that value within verified user, right? So within this list that they're now in, you're going to print the value. So let's say John gets checked, we print verifying John, right? So he's getting checked, and then we're going to pop him to this list. So then, or we're going to append him to this list, and now he's in the verified user list. And then we want to go through each one of the names that are now in this list. So we got John, Jake, and Jesus now on this list, and we want to go ahead and print each one of their names out. So let's see what that looks like. Okay. So here we start off with verifying Jesus, and the following users have been confirmed. Jesus, verifying Jake. So then we're going off to the next one. The following users have been confirmed. Jesus and Jake, verifying John. And then at the end, we're saying the following users have been confirmed. Jesus, Jake, John. So we verified all of them, right? And so we've taken them from this list. We've printed out that we're verifying them, and then we put them in this list, and then we printed out the values of this list, right? It's basically what we did. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Removing all instance of a specific value from a list with the remove function. So here we have our favorite movies. The top grossing movies, I looked this up, it's Avatar, Avengers Endgame, and Titanic. Okay, so we got those movies. We're gonna print them out, and then while Titanic in movies, so as long as Titanic is in this list, we're gonna go ahead and take that list, and we're using the remove variable to then remove Titanic from the list. And then we'll print the list to show you that it's been removed. So let's go ahead and run this. So here you can see our list starts off with all 3 movies. And then at the end, once it's removed, you can see Titanic is no longer in the list because it's been removed. All right, let's move on. Filling a dictionary with user input. So here we have response. You can see this dictionary, got the curly bracket. We're setting the flag to true. well, polling activity prompt for a person's name. So you can input a name, and we're taking a poll here. So we're going to see what which mountains would you like to climb. So we're trying to see which mountains they would like to climb. So we input the name, then they input the mountain that they want to climb. It's going to then take that response, right? And it's going to store it in this, it's going to store it in the dictionary, right? So we have the dictionary up here, responses. So we're taking that name, we're storing it in the dictionary, okay? Then it's going to find out if anyone else is going to want to take the poll. So would you like to have another person take the poll? Yes, no. If they put no, it's going to set poll act to false, which will then exit the loop, or you print. If it says yes, anything other than no, then it'll continue the poll. All right, so we're going to go ahead and input our name here. So I'll put my name is Luke. And which mountain would I like to climb? Let me look up some mountains real quick. Hold on. See if I've climbed any of these. Ooh, the White Mountain Peak. It's here. It's in California, so sure. Yeah, I'd love to climb that. Oh, whoops. There we go. Would you like? Would you like to let another person respond? Nope, I have no one else to poll. All right, so Luke, you'd like to climb White Mountain Peak, right? So that's how that code will run. All right, let's go and move on to the next one. It's going to be the McDonald's menu. And we're taking the responses and we're storing them in the dictionary, right? And we have a list of items from the McDonald's menu. So we have quarter pounder, we have nuggets, ice cream, and AR-15, okay? And then we have print McDonald's menu. So we're gonna print that menu out and then print the ice cream machine is broken again, okay? And then while ice cream in McDonald's menu, we're gonna remove it from the menu because as we all know, McDonald's ice cream machines never work. So you have to, someone orders it, hey, we don't have it, our ice cream machine is broken, right? So then we're gonna print the items that are available in the menu. We removed ice cream from the menu, so we still have all the other items. Let's go ahead and print that and see what happens. All right, so here you can see it's printed out the menu, quarter pounder, nuggets, ice cream, AR-15. The ice cream machine is broken. Items available in menu, quarter pounder, nuggets, AR-15. All right, so that's what we got there. Let's go ahead and move on to 7-12 here. And we come to the end of this, guys. Let me go ahead and input this. All right, so here we have the dictionary. We're doing another poll here. And we're basically doing the same thing we were doing, basically. Where if the insert no, the poll's set to false, and therefore it ends the poll. We are taking those responses and storing them in the dictionary. And then for name and responses.items. All right. Print name, vacation, okay. All right, let's run this, see what happens. Name, Luke. Vacation. Tattooing. All right, tattooing. Oops, move this out of the way. Tatooine. Okay. Another response, yes. Right. And vacation. Let's see, he wants to go on Tatooine as well. No. So then Luke would like to go on vacation to Tatooine. Ham would like to go on vacation to Tatooine. So basically, as long as the poll's active, it's going to ask for the name for input. It's going to ask for the response for input. It's going to then store the response in a dictionary. All right. So the vacation place, it's going to put them here. And then we're going to go ahead and ask them if they want someone else to take the poll. If no, exit. If yes, it's just going to continue the loop and then print the poll results. So then it will say for name, right, for the names that we have, and responses. So the key value pairs. So we're dealing with the dictionary. Remember, you have key value pairs in the response items. It's going to print the name and the response. So that first value, the key is going to be Luke, and the value is going to be Tatooine, right? Second one, because it's dictionary, it's going to be Han, and then the value is going to be Tatooine. So that's the end of that. And we've come to the end, guys. This is it. Thank you for watching. Next, we're going to be going over chapter 8, functions. That's going to be very exciting. I think it's one of the longest chapters in the whole book. But functions are very important. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a good day. Bye-bye.